I am still in Germany. You are still watching on YouTube. It's the second day of Gamescom. How's it going? Today, seen a bunch more VR. Some I can't talk about yet, some good, some alright. Favorite thing I've seen today? Probably Espire 1. Now this is a VR stealth game that I know a lot of people are really looking forward to. And I can see why. Basically, I got to play through one of the intro levels in the game. The game reminds me so much of Metal Gear Solid 2 and the freedom that experience provided. Holding up guards, saying freeze with your voice, picking up guards and moving them out of the way of sight. All of that stuff has been translated into VR in really convincing, compelling ways. It's coming out soon, really looking forward to it. Next up, finally played Undead Citadel. Now this is a zombie slasher game set in around medieval times, coming from a developer called Dark Curry. We've seen a couple of trailers for it so far. It's always looked visually very nice. We've always had questions about the gameplay. I thought the combat needed a little work. There were some nice elements to it. I really liked parrying with my sword. Sometimes I get a good stab in and it felt quite tactile. But then also a lot of the time it felt like the rules of combat hadn't really been explained right, and I'd be throwing my sword around and didn't really know if it was going to make an impact or not. Still hoping it's going to work out well. I think with a good tutorial and a better understanding of the game, it could be a fair bit better, but was kind of mixed about that one for now. Also played a little game called Iron Man VR. Now as a massive Marvel fan, I've been wanting to play this for a long time. Wasn't so happy with Marvel Powers United VR back in the day, but you can see why they saved Iron Man for his own game, because he really fits in VR very well. Playing this on PSVR, I kind of forgot that I was playing on PSVR. Now Camouflage, the developer of the game, have always talked about this kind of tracking algorithm they have, so that unlike most PSVR games, you can turn around and do some 360 gameplay. I really wanted to try that out for myself, so I was very deliberately turning around, and it actually works very well. I noticed a couple of jitters here and there when I was aiming, but one of the beautiful things about Iron Man is to fly, he has to put his hands by his side, so a lot of the time the camera still actually knows where the move controllers are. He's very uniquely suited to that. Thought the flight controls were really fun, thought they were great. Sometimes it felt a little too sensitive, sometimes it didn't feel sensitive enough. I got myself caught in some dead spots every now and again, but on the whole, was pretty impressed with it. Really looking forward to it. I think it's coming out later this year. I also took some time to head around some of the international booths. I went to the Spanish booth and found a very interesting PSVR game there. I can't pronounce the name of the game. If we find out information about it, I will try and put it in this YouTube video, or Tina will try and put it in this YouTube video. Yep. But it was a pretty interesting game. It was like an escape room game. It had a really interesting story about it. It had some very strange things happening at the end. I think I got attacked by a wild moose man, which was pretty intimidating. It might have been a deer or something like that, but it was kind of crazy. Everything in the room you could be interacted with. Taken in the context of a convention like this, it was hard to get a grasp of what's going on, but I was speaking to the developers afterwards. The story sounds interesting. We'll try and find out a bit more about it and bring it to you. Also played hide and seek in VR, which was a heck of a lot of fun. I don't know why anyone hasn't thought of the idea of hide and seek in VR yet, but it was a little rough around the edges, but I think that'll make for a really fun multiplayer game. And finally, I tried on a haptic vest for the first time ever. I've never done one before. It felt like wearing a bunch of controller vibrators on my chest. It was kind of interesting. Didn't think it was especially immersive or convincing, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was fun. It's going to be our last day of Gamescom tomorrow. We're going to see a few more things, but for now, that's the bulk of it. Again, we'll have full impressions of everything I'm talking about here as the weeks go on, and yeah, stay tuned to upload.